Welcome to Blake Street Banter, where one of us knows what the word banter means. Me, Noah, and the other one's just along for the ride. How you doing, big dog?
Doing all right. Can't complain. How about yourself?
Doing okay. Eli is that voice that you just heard. I am Aaron, and we are here switching it up. We do. It's a team effort at BSB. So Noah's on vacation. I'm filling in. Tyler and I have been busy over the last few weeks, so Eli and Noah have been stepping up, and it's been good because Eli is headed on a jet plane tomorrow to Scottsdale to spend the week with the Colorado Rockies, covering it for BSB. So it's gonna be pretty dope, a little bit different coverage. This is our first spring training trainee. There's something there. There's a pun there. There is a pun there. But Eli's gonna go be a big dog down in Scottsdale. What are you looking forward to most?
Oh, that's tough. I guess just being there in itself. I know that's very cliche, but very, very grateful to you guys for putting me in a position to be able to do this. It's kind of stuff I've been dreaming about since I was in high school. So just I guess being able to ask some questions, as opposed to sitting here on my computer and going through B-roll, having thoughts of my own that I can't really articulate. So I'm excited to get down there and ask some questions and just talk a little bit about what I've been seeing.
Yeah, it's exciting. What's so when you run into Kyle Freeland, have you thought about your first question, your first interaction?
Maybe not Kyle specifically. There are some questions on my mind for sure. I think I've left a lot of that for my flight tomorrow. I think I'm going to sit down for a couple hours and just kind of go through the 40 man and the spring training roster and go through all the B-roll again and see what's going on. We'll see.
All right. Let's say I am Ryan Ritter. What's your best question for me right now?
Yeah, just I would say probably off the spot, just what has this spring looked like for you in terms of learning to adjust to different positions and trying to improve that defensive versatility, having that first start in left field a couple of days ago, taking some reps at third base in practice, going back to shortstop in the game today. What does that look like?
It's been tough. The grass it's not always greener on the other side. It's a little different out in left field. But coach just told me, "Hey, you're playing left field today," right before I went on the field, and here we go. So we're just rolling with it, fighting for it, and we're ready. We're just anything that comes to me, we're going. Heck, I might even play first base today, Eli. I might play first base today because Blaine Krim, Aaron hats on now. Blaine Krim is hurt, injured. We don't know the extent of the injury, so to speak, just yet. But it kind of makes the first base opening more open, the competition at first base. So Troy Johnston, who I think if you asked 8 out of 10 Rockies fans, I bet 8 of them don't know who Troy Johnston is right now, which is interesting. And JT Rumfield, and then you have Julian. And then it's just kind of, who knows? Like there's thoughts throwing out on the Twitter that you throw Goodman or Fulford over at first. I don't think Fulford's ever played first base in his entire life. And I don't think
4 innings total. I looked it up earlier today because I was thinking the same thing. He's played 4 innings in AAA in 2023.
Okay, so that was just like, hey, we need you. You're a body. Probably, I wonder if it was like a September 4 innings as well when we're just kind of doing whatever. So I don't think Fulford is playing first base in the major leagues soon. The Goodman thing was interesting just because Goodman has that experience. But what is your take on the first base competition now, really with Blaine Krim, who kind of had a lockdown? It seemed like he had a lockdown being hurt.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Obviously, we don't know exactly how long Krim is going to be out. I believe it was an oblique strain. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anything that's kind of soft tissue, it's up in the air. You know what I mean? You don't know the severity. So, in my mind, I think that they'll carry 2 first basemen. I think that that's generally, or 2 guys that are capable of playing first. Yeah. And just based off of what they said in terms of matchup hunting and that being a priority this year, I would have liked to think that one of those guys would have been a right-handed option. So that's where Krim had the advantage in the sense that Johnson hits from the left, Julian hits from the left, Rumfield hits from the left. So I think that that's an interesting thing. There aren't a lot of guys on the roster that have played first base. I know Willie Castro can play almost anywhere. Doesn't play first. There's been conversations about Tyler Freeman. I guess we'll see. I don't think that that's plan A by any extent.
I hope not.
And then you even get into the conversation of Charlie Condon, and I don't think that that is a realistic possibility. I think that he's going to need to spend some time in the minors just to get a little bit more seasoning this year. That would be a big jump and a big ask, as great as he has looked in this spring. So I think it's difficult to assess from the right-handed option. When you look at the other three guys, I think that Julian makes this roster because he has the ability to play second as well. And he's a guy that they went out and got in trade. Tells me that the front office likes what he presents. So we talk about Johnston and Rumfield. And Johnston has a bit more versatility with the ability to play outfield. Rumfield is a more traditional, standard first baseman. But nobody to me so far this spring has really jumped out and said, this job is mine. And we're 4 games in. There's time for that. But there hasn't been anybody who's really grabbed it. I don't think that the numbers themselves are great for Johnston or Rumfield, though I will say, watching the game today, Rumfield was 1 for 3 with a single, a pop out, and a strikeout, I believe. But he saw 7 pitches in each of his 3 at-bats, which speaks to his ability to have a professional at-bat and would likely lead to results in the future.
And that's what they brought JT in for. That's like he was able to work counts and has some raw power in there. The home runs don't show that, but he's a doubles machine and whatnot. I think they brought him in to fight for a spot. But I agree with you. It seems like it's Julian's, it's Eduardo's to lose at this point. Because, he is the versatility. He is the one that Willie Castro, Eduardo, Julian, Tyler Freeman, he has the most experience at first base, just looking at those raw numbers. I don't know how well Tyler Freeman can play first base. I just think he's too athletic to play first base, if that makes any sense. I'd rather him be up the middle or using that speed somewhere else. I don't know. I just think of Tyler Freeman playing first base, Orlando Arcia is playing first base. It just, in my mind, I have no idea why or what that comparison is coming from, but it just feels that way. Willie Castro, Wildly Innocent says they've said Willie Castro can play everywhere. He can. He just has never played a professional major league inning at first base. Could he handle it? Probably. Orlando Arcia could. I'm sure Willie Castro can. But that's not something you're doing. That's not something you're throwing out there. That's not going to be a normal thing. I think you give it to one of those other guys that you were speaking of. I think that's going to be a big one to watch.
I don't think that's why Willie's here either. I think Willie came here to get more consistent at-bats and to do so playing multiple positions, but I don't think they have any interest in shoving him into a new position. And as we talk about Castro and Freeman, just to pivot a little bit, I think that this – I don't know if second base battle is the right way to put it, but there are more options at second base that I feel have a chance to make this roster than maybe I did 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think Amador is a great example of that. He's had a tremendous start this spring. And I think that he has, and Schaefer even said as much, he has an opportunity to push for a spot. Ritter can play second. Castro plays second. Julian as well. Second base has suddenly become a very interesting position in terms of what they want to do. And Amador presents versatility in the sense that he's a switch hitter too, similar to Castro playing a matchups game. If I'm playing devil's advocate, Amador fits that bill of versatility and also historically taking professional at bats, and he's done so far in spring training.
And people need to stop sleeping on Amador. I think we're higher on Amador than most at BSB. He's a 22-year-old, got thrown into the fire with a weird regime that felt like his development was just stalled because we need you to go out and hit with the pressure that we're going to take away everything that's made you great. If there's a way a 22-year-old Adel Amador that has the plate patience that he has, the switch hitting ability that he can do, can just lean into any of that he saw in AA and high A, single A when he was just going off, there's some gold in that stone there that could be chiseled out. And then there's third base as well. Like, who's playing third? We've all kind of assumed it's Willie or Julian. But Karros is a dog. Like, I don't think his at-bats have been terrible from what I'm hearing or seeing. Obviously, his gold glove is going to get him playing time. Like, it's going to get eyes, and he has the pedigree. He's still my starting third baseman. again, saying that 5 games in, where I haven't watched any Colorado Rockies baseball, but that bat is there. And and there's another thought here. I want to say it out loud before I forget it, because I want to get back to you on it. I don't know if I believe in the young guys having to sit and learn at AAA, because the major league level is so much more superior than it is at the AAA level. We heard Karros. Okay, we're going into it. this is where we're going. Karros came in 20 pounds underweight, tired, exhausted at the end of last year. Probably hurt his bat speed, is what Skip Schaefer said, and just those are the reports, right? Even with all that, he still did okay. Didn't blow the doors off the handles, didn't do any of that. But I just think of Zach Veen and his struggles last year. We saw Yankiel Fernandez, Michael Tolia, Ryan Ritter went off at AAA. All did great things. And then they made the major leagues and they stalled. And then they went back down to AAA and they absolutely raised. I just don't think you're seeing that level of competition at the AAA level that is going to prepare you for longevity at the major league level to show that you can produce. I think there's only so much growth that you can make at AAA once you've already seen the major league stuff. And with the yo-yo that we've seen with the Rockies and their players, I think there's some real life stats data that kind of supports my theory in that, where you just need to go out there and ball. And if you have a healthy Cali Karros who's ready to go, who's at fighter's weight, so to speak, why not roll with him for the first month or two, see what he has, and go with it?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I think Kyle Karros is the opening day starting third baseman. And for all the reasons we know about him, but there's been a lot of talk about winning in the margins. And to me, a big part of that is defense.
Yeah.
Kyle Karros is a phenomenal defender. I believe in a full season, he will be a top 10, if not top 5 defensive third baseman in baseball. In the limited time he saw last year, he was 4 outs above average in not a whole lot of time. I can't find the exact amount of games in front of me right this second, but that's a great number. I think Kyle takes professional at bats. I know that all the numbers weren't there last year, but when he came up, I was immediately struck by the fact that he took professional at bats. Like you said, that adjustment is tough. He was underweight. Let's also not forget he played at 3 different levels. You know, he went from Hartford to Albuquerque, and he was in Albuquerque for not a super long time before he got called up. That's a difficult thing to do. I think he has the right mindset, and I want to give a shout out to Brian in our chat right now. He brings up a point I was going to make. Karros has been stealing some bags. You want to start? You want to be on this team? Provide value in any way possible, and the base pass has been a big conversation. So if Karros can find a way to start stealing some bags along with that defense and even just be a league average hitter, I think he'll start. And, you know, if the splits are difficult or he goes in a slump, that's why you have a Willie Castro, or that's why you have a Ryan Ritter or a Tyler Freeman. Castro especially, because he's a switch hitter. So there's not really a matchups game that you have to worry about there. So I think that Kyle Karros will start at third. And if it doesn't work out, you can always go in another direction. But I think it would be a mistake to have him start anywhere other than on that major league roster.
I'm glad I wasn't out in left field, so to speak, with that thought. Like, I've heard some things, just like, I don't know. It's just, last year we had to play the kids. This year we don't. But the kids that got the taste and are still on the squad, I think have every right to be there just as much as Eduardo Julian and Willie Castro and Tyler Freeman. Like, they still have that. And I don't know, I think that needs to be remembered. Like, oh, we have this veteran presence now. Well, is that veteran presence really better than the kid trying to learn in another 100-game season with veteran presence around? I think you can do both. And if you have a pedigree like Kyle Karros winning in the margins, as you're hearing constantly, like, this is what the quote is. This is what we're doing. So, and just, I'm glad we are in agreement on that. He'll not be the best third baseman without a Gold Glove like Ryan McMahon. Yeah, we'll see. He'll be the best third baseman in the NL West for sure. Yes, that is a dig at who shall not be named. But where else do we want to go? we have first base. Talked a little bit about the infield, outfield. Oh, this comment. There's absolutely no way we see Adele Amador in the outfield. He is just not the versatile athlete that Ryan Ritter is. He's a second baseman. The stature, the speed, everything that is Adele Amador. This is no offense. He's a professional athlete. I'm a guy in my basement. He's not playing the outfield, especially at Coors Field. There's no way.
No, they have enough guys that can do that already.
Okay, the outfield. This is a new development. Reports Jake McCarthy playing left field and Jordan Beck playing right field seems to be in like the 75% chance that it's actually going to happen cards. Is that true? Is that what you're hearing, reading, and listening to?
Yeah, I would say it's higher than 75%. I would say I would be shocked if it was any other configuration on a regular basis. I don't know that I ever vocalized it, but after the McCarthy signing, I don't know if I'd say an expectation, but that was certainly a possibility that was in my mind. McCarthy just covers more ground than Jordan Beck, and that's not a shot at Jordan, and he's not a poor defender by any means, but Jake McCarthy is one of the fastest guys in baseball. He can cover more ground in left field than Jordan Beck can. That just is what it is. And I like it. Again, I feel very good about the defense in the outfield. And it brings up something in my brain, at least, that I wanted to mention, is that Mickey Moniak's role becomes a little bit more interesting to me. I wonder if, and I think I said it last week, but I wonder if he plays more than, or really, if at all, if he plays any outfield. And hopefully I'll have the opportunity to ask that question when I get down there is he the DH? Is that the idea? And on days where it's lefty, who else gets that position? But, I'm interested to hear what the plan is for Mickey Moniak, who was a very poor defender last year, but had very clearly can handle the bat and be helpful there. And we obviously haven't seen it because he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury, just a little knock. Obviously, he's all right, but I think that's a development. He has not played yet. Yeah.
I was just looking up the stats. I'm glad you were on top of that. But it's that came to my mind as well. Like, if you have such an athletic 3-4 guys, why does he need to play out there? But then, I mean, he is that versatility piece, DH, outfield, but I don't know, what does that do for guys like Ryan Ritter and Tyler Freeman if you have a guy like Mickey Moniak on the list? And again, this is a fantastic thought process that we've never been able to do. Like, there's actually competition that makes sense for this competition rather than this is the kid that's going to get the spot. Like, it's just nice. And Jake McCarthy, like, I remember seeing him rookie year 2023 just being you watch these players, the players, and you just go, oh shit, just a little bit different, right? And Jake McCarthy was that guy when I remember watching the Rockies Diamondbacks games. Like, okay, I like that guy, and now he's on the squad, and he's just gonna be a pain in the ass for pitchers when he's on the base paths. Between him and Doyle, like, is there anything that falls into that 66% left field, left center field? There's nothing that falls in there, and I think that makes Coors a fantastic place to play and win games, home field advantage type stuff.
Yeah, it's what we've talked about all offseason, kind of as soon as McCarthy came in, and what Depot and the front office has said is it's that athletic archetype that can be successful at Coors in the outfield. I will say, having watched Jake McCarthy just in the 2 games we've had access to this spring, he is a flash. I mean, he's the fastest guy on this roster. Not that that's a surprise to anybody, but I think I tweeted it out on the account today. Fulford hit a line drive to left today that maybe bounced once or twice at 108 miles an hour. McCarthy was on third base from first on that ball to left. I mean, he had a double on a ball that he kind of blooped in, and you knew it would probably be a double once you saw it coming down, but he was at second base so much faster than I could have imagined. He's so fast, and in terms of the athleticism across the whole roster, you see it in these games. They are trying to steal a lot more. We've been hearing it. Now we're seeing it. They are taking off on the base paths. There was a time today where Cole Carrick stole second, and then on the next pitch, he was going to try and steal third. Got popped up, and he ended up back at second, but there was no lack of aggressiveness in that standpoint.
And we haven't seen that kind of stuff Like you don't see that like double A. I remember seeing that all the time with Cole Carrick and Zach Veen and Delamador was stealing bases. Braden Ward, he was master of second to third and just making chaos. And the fact that you have that at major league level is pretty exciting. The outfield is interesting. Like we're kind of talking like it's a pretty set deal with McCarthy, Doyle, and Beck across the way. Then it's like, all right, so how much does a Cole Carrick and a Zach Veen push this envelope for a spot? I don't know if they're pushing for a spot. I think it's safe to say those three are set. Jordan Beck is good enough. Jake McCarthy is athletic enough. Brenton Doyle is Brenton Doyle. I don't see a world where Zach Veen and or Cole Carrick are making opening day roster. I am curious what that does for the future, especially in this outfield.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. I kind of drafted up an opening day roster today. I couldn't possibly put everything in places, but just guys who I think are locked in. You don't really think twice about them being there. McCarthy, Doyle, Beck were on that list. Moniak's on that list. So that's 4 guys. And then you have, in terms of outfield options, Veen, Carrick, obviously, Ritter in theory, but I'm not ready to put him there yet after watching one game, just in terms of consistently challenging for outfield time. And Troy Johnston as well. It'll be interesting to see where they go. I think that there are a pretty solid 9. They'll carry 13 position players, most likely, and 13 pitchers. That's generally how we go about things. I would say there are 9 bordering on 10 that can feel pretty good. And then there's really 3 spots that I think are pretty up for grabs at the moment. And I think one of those will be a guy who plays first. And then after that, it's the same names. It comes down to, if we're just looking at guys who are not playing first, Amador, Ritter, Thompson, Veen, Carrick, Condon, and maybe I'm forgetting somebody. But I want to add one thing while I'm just thinking about position spots, because I was talking to Isaac about this today. And one thing that I think is a possibility, that Isaac does too, is that the backup catcher is not who we think it is. I think there's a real possibility that Braxton Fulford, maybe not a real possibility, but there's a chance that Braxton Fulford is not on the opening day roster in my mind. I think Brett Sullivan is a guy that they like a lot. We've seen a lot of him already. He provides them with a left-handed bat in case they ever do need to platoon Hunter, give him a day. It's versatility in that sense. He runs the bases pretty well. He's not Fulford fast, but he can move. And I think he's a better defender than Fulford. I have not been impressed with what I've seen with Fulford behind the plate. Last year, there were some issues. So far in spring, there were a few plays today that made me scratch my head a little bit. So I won't go so far as to say that I think that Sullivan makes the roster, but don't be surprised if come March 28th or 27th or whatever it is, he is there with the team in Miami.
I mean, you're not wrong. Fulford has not played well yet today. Just that blunder on the strikeout for Dollander, that was tough. And I know the throwing errors have been an issue. There's just that pop in that bat that might be a little hard to fill, I think. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays. And oh, this is interesting. What do you guys think that I say I don't think Julian is a lock? They did not give up a lot for Julien and Olt. So there is a world where I can see them. You're not cutting it. So good day. We have your substitutes already in Ryan Ritter and Tyler Freeman. I can see that. I can see that there. But I think you just kind of mentioned why he's still here is just that first base ability. Right now, he is fighting for a first baseman spot. And so if he can be league average at first base defensively and still offer some of those athletic abilities around the block, I think he has a little bit higher of a chance of staying on than some of those other guys. So I don't think you're totally wrong with that. It's definitely something to watch over the next 2-3 weeks. It'll be interesting. And then another point I wanted to point out was Cole Carrick. He can play shortstop. He's going to play shortstop. He played shortstop the other day. We're going to see him play shortstop for Team Israel. He has that in his bag. And like, if you think about it, like behind Zeke, it's Ryan Ritter is your backup shortstop. I don't think Willie Castro is the best defensive shortstop that you want to put out there. So Cole Carrick could easily fill in there if that needs to be a spot. I think he gives that a little bit more defensibility than a Tyler Freeman or a Willie Castro or Edward Julian that could fill in a pinch there. So that could be a world where Cole Carrick makes it opening day roster. But I'm going to be watching Team Israel every day. Like, I'm going to see Cole Carrick go off because he's an electric factory himself. Had a few blunders in the outfield today. I heard on the radio, came in a little bit too much on one play and got tripled up on it. But I don't know. Just is he your favorite prospect right now?
Certainly my favorite to watch. I mean, the guy is just absolutely electric. I was saying the other day, I loved watching him play shortstop because we've seen the frozen rope from center field, and being able to watch him do it just across the diamond, just, on a double play or just try to gun a guy is awesome. He's so much fun on the base paths. I think Warren Schaefer said, and this may not be completely the correct quote, but something along the lines of he plays like a wild horse with his hair on fire, which I love. That's representative. And I'm a little biased too. We had the chance to talk to Cole. Was a great guy, had a great conversation. So I'm rooting for Cole Carrick. I think that it's an uphill battle to make the opening day roster just because there wasn't a ton with the bat in the second half of last year in Double-A. He's playing awesome baseball right now. And if he continues to play like this, he's going to force some uncomfortable conversations to be had. But he's certainly up there with my favorites to watch. Yeah.
I agree. He's one of my favorites as well. I think Brody Breck's my top favorite just to watch. I like watching starting pitchers. Fifth starter. It's kind of a competition. Tanner Gordon balled out the other night. I understood. I think Feltner's pitched once, right? He went Saturday or Sunday, and then Doe went today. So we're seeing that fifth spot. We're all assuming the four spots are Freeland, Sagano, Lorenzen, and I'm assuming so good, Quintana. Those are going to be the four spots. Fifth spot, whose is it? Doe, I'm just going to do that, and then you can talk about Feltner and Gordon or any other insight. I'm assuming this is from Tyler or Isaac about our recap from Chase Dolander's performance today. 2 solid innings for Chase, the breakdown. 4-seam getting more run versus 25, just less carry, which is good. If we can keep that 4-seam down and play it when we need to play it and use it less, I think there's this easy switch for Dolan to be successful. The 2-seam breaking and dropping more going to be a ground ball machine. We saw him get 2 double plays in his 2 innings. I know that. I heard that. Cutter is dropping less, breaking more, and looks overpowering. Change up with a little bit more drop. Curveball basically same. Somehow everything got sharper. The other interesting thing was StatCast had to reset itself after the outing, and it showed that Chase Dolander threw 2 sweepers today, which with our analytics team, Sean of Mile High Metrics of Blake Street Banter, went in and did a report on all the pitches and how they work differently at Coors and on the road. And sweeper is one of the most efficient pitches to both home and on the road. So if you're adding that arsenal in there with whatever Chase can do, and Chase can fix the pitch sequencing and the tunneling, and you kind of see what is all happening right now. It's encouraging just in one outing, 2 innings. Granted, it was 30 pitches, and that's always been Doe's kind of issue is the high pitch count. But you're seeing some of these adjustments already made by the front office to Doe's stuff. That makes me really excited, especially if we're adding more movement and stuff that's going to play at Coors.
Yeah, I am 100% in agreement with you there. The stuff is undeniable, and it's only getting better. If we're just talking about raw stuff, he probably has the best raw stuff of anybody in the entire organization at this moment in time. As you said, the sweeper played well. A lot of stuff looked really good on paper, but it comes back to that same issue with the control and the pitch count a little bit. He was even fortunate that pitch count wasn't higher with those couple of double plays. And obviously you have to get the ball on the ground, and he did that. But, this outing could be talked about a lot differently if he isn't able to make that happen. in regards to the fifth starter spot as it applies to Dolander, my general thought on it is that he's going to be given every opportunity to win that spot. I think that the best case scenario is that he finds his control and he wins that spot, and he's absolutely nasty, and he's not the fifth starter by the end of the year. He's further up in those ranks.
Right.
But with that being said, the front office has been very clear about what they're prioritizing. You got to put the ball in the zone. You can't be walking guys. And we saw some of those control issues resurface a little bit today. And a guy like Tanner Gordon is just awesome with his control. He had 3 Ks and just 1 inning the other day. He's not a guy you worry about walking people. So, if Doe struggles with walks and Gordon continues to pitch the way he has and is able to locate and miss bats, then I think that Tanner Gordon has a real shot at this thing. And Ryan Feltner, of course, for that matter, too. But when I'm just thinking about the philosophy, I kind of think Gordon is the biggest challenge to Dolander. But Feltner also has a pretty extensive arsenal with multiple pitches, which is something that fits too. So I think it's going to be interesting to watch. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be the guy who puts the ball in the zone the most with the best stuff and the most pitches. So if Chase can locate, I feel confident that he'll be the fifth starter. And just to answer a question that I see in the chat from a couple minutes ago, it says, for those on audio, do we know that Freeland is going to be healthy for opening day with his back spasms? From everything I've been hearing from Schaefer and the people within the organization, it's not a big deal, more of a precaution. You've got over a month till opening day, so there's no reason to rush him back for spring training. I would imagine we'll see him sometime in the next week. So nothing of major concern at this point.
Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be way more precautionary than other things. And then also just shout out to you, because you're not going to hear Tanner Gordon as a fifth spot option on many podcasts, because nobody's doing as much as Eli is. Like, the amount you take in and the amount you're reading and the amount you're writing, like, there's not many more knowledgeable about the Colorado Rockies spring training right now. So I put in the piece with that piece, and I think you might be onto something there. Tanner Gordon, Noah's favorite pitcher, might be in the pushing the Tennessee Volunteer out of the way there. Sean Sullivan, the Wizard, has looked good in his 2 outings, won't break camp, but will be great to see how he handles the PCL. 100%, Sean. Yeah, huge shout out to you for just being here. Thank you for hanging out, Sean. The Wizard, he's an anomaly, and just who can strike out people with 92-mile-per-hour fastball. Sean Sullivan can. It's just insane. He is fun to watch pitch too. Like, just when he's on, it's just nuts.
Yeah,
because it doesn't make sense.
So much. Just the 2 innings we've seen in spring training have just been just fun. It's just fun.
Yes, Wildly Innocent, when you walk in with your ticket at the home opener, you do get a new pitch as well. It's just, so be ready. Which pitch, Wildly Innocent, are you taking? From which Rockies pitcher is your pitch? So let us know that. Another interesting thing I picked up is that you should expect Jaden Hill to gain velo on his pitches. There were some big changes on pitching motion. We'll have to look into that, Sean. Take note. What was he pumping? 98, 99 in his outing, which is crazy, but he's always had that in his bag ready to go. And the bullpen, I think that's where we're going to end it here. It's excited, right? It's deep. We got a lot of good parts, but some of those parts look kind of tough right now. I mean, we have to say it. I know how you're going to answer it. I'm going to agree with you how you answer it, but are we worried about Seth Halverson's outing today and how bad that went?
Not even remotely, to be completely honest with you. Yeah.
Yes, I got that right. I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the first time he's pitched in a real game since, late July of last year. Obviously you want to see that control get a little bit better, but I'm not overly concerned over 1 inning of work. To kind of touch on what we're talking about with the bullpen a little bit, I think that it is a topic that has gone largely unnoticed in regards to the competition. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. It's my favorite thing to discuss, and I haven't been able to discuss it yet because it's an awesome problem to have. The bullpen has so many options, but there are going to be some really good guys that aren't on this opening day roster. I mean, they will carry I'm
Yeah.
going to assume it's going to be 8 bullpen guys and 5 starters. I think that that's probably a good assessment or assumption, I should say. And when you look at that bullpen, I mean, guys that you can lock in, you can probably lock in Bernardino, and please correct me if you feel differently on any of these. Bernardino, they went and got. Herget was so great last year. I think Thompson has nothing to worry about. He was awesome the other day. They also went and got him. Senzo will probably be in there because even if he's bad right now, there's not a lot you can do about it. Hopefully that sweeper works. He's been doing work. So Senza will be there. I'd like to believe that Halverson and Vodnik will be there as well. But, I say that, and usually you feel like that's just kind of a foregone conclusion. But then you look at the other guys, and there's Jaden Hill, there's Zach Agnos, Juan Mejia, who I believe will be there. I'm just not, trying to put anybody as a lock. Like Luke said, Pettit, I'm looking at right here, and there's Palmquist as well, Peralta. I also think it's interesting because you want a split of at least a couple of left-handed arms in there. And of the names I just read, Bernardino is one, Palmquist is one, Peralta is one, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think 2 of those guys make the opening day roster because leaving your bullpen with just one lefty is a tough place to be. I don't believe that Palmquist or Peralta currently have the stuff of some of the guys they're competing with. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with an RJ Pettit, who was the rule 4 has to be on the opening day. I don't know where they're going to go. There's a lot of awesome options, but I don't know.
It's a great problem to have, and I agree with you. I think most of those spots are safe. I don't know much about Bernardino, but he's going to be one I watch. But he was traded. He was in the Breeden Ward trade, so he wasn't love Breeden Ward, but he wasn't expensive to get. Same with Keegan Thompson. He was a waiver claim. So I mean, we talked about it with Amir a few weeks ago, and it's just like you're looking at the waivers and you're seeing what you can do to make your 40 man just a little bit better. So if that means you picked up a Keegan Thompson back in January, but now there's another option, Dugan Darnell, that comes available and you can pick him up, that makes that floor just a little bit better. You do that. And it's the business side of it. And so you have to be a little bit worried about that. But like if you have a Brendan Bernardino and a King Thompson that struggle out of the gate, I think you get rid of those. And I'm speaking not looking at left-right stuff. And there's one name that you didn't say, who I don't think is in camp yet, but we should all be aware of, is Wellington Herrera, who's a phenom. Granted, he's got the time. He's probably not going to make the opening day roster, but as soon as he's on the Rockies, dude man's not going anywhere. He's going to be lights out. He's going to probably have the most saves, I'm saying it now, for the Colorado Rockies in 2026. And so that's going to push somebody else somewhere, hopefully with the trade, hopefully with something that makes the team a little bit better. But like you have Wellington Herrera, Eberson Castellano, he's an interesting one. Mashinsky was added as a free agent from Cleveland. He's on the outside looking in. I don't think he has any options left, so you might have to pick him up. I don't know. It's just you have a plethora of dudes that can get outs, and John Brebbia, I think he's a name that we should kind of be keeping an eye on because his stuff is nice. It's nice. It's a plethora of arms, and if Luis Peralta can't throw strikes, sorry, dog. I think it's time to go. We're gonna have to step up and do something else with somebody else. So it's a fun one. I don't know. So do we? Okay, so let's play the game. Is he on the opening day roster? Yes or no? Victor Vodnik.
Yeah.
Jimmy Herget.
Yeah.
Juan Mejia.
Yeah.
Who is playing for the Dominican Republic. He is a injury substitute. He is going to be playing for the Dominican, which is sweet. Halverson.
Yeah.
Bernardino.
I would go as far as to say absolutely.
RJ Pettit.
That's where it gets hard. Gun to my head, I say no.
It's going to be interesting because he is that Rule 5, but it's a Rule 5. It doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you do have to pay some cash to the team that he's going back to, like as a thank you favor. But a cheap option. Keegan Thompson.
Yeah.
And then Antonio Senzatella.
Yeah.
So you, of those 8, I think that's right. One of them is a lefty, and you said no to one of the righties. So then that lefty, Carson Palmquist, is not on this list for Rockies resource. I wonder why he's listed as a starting pitcher. I think he would be the next lefty that fits in there as the reliever. And Wellington Rara, lefty. Zach Dagnos, we didn't talk about. Jaden Hill, didn't talk about. Luis Peralta. So it's a little right hand heavy, which is a little concerning.
Yeah, and I think there's talk about Jaden Hill in the chat. It's a knee jerk to believe that Vodnik and Halverson are locks for this roster. Just in my mind, there's a reality that maybe they're not. The biggest component of their games historically have been that velocity. Jaden Hill has that same ability. So Jaden Hill could come in and take a spot from somebody. It goes back to just what I was saying at the start. I mean, it's weird to think that Zach Agnos, as great of a spring as he's had so far, may not be on this roster. I don't think we really know what it's going to look like, but we know that it's strong. That's encouraging. And I'd like to believe that if this revamped pitching rotation can just keep the Rockies in games, just quality starts. You don't have to be the Cy Young, but just, 5 innings of 3-run ball, even. If you can keep it close, I think this bullpen will be able to help the Rockies win games, and hopefully the bats come alive a little bit this year. But I think there's a lot of reason to believe that the Rockies will be a lot more competitive, a lot more respectable, and that there may be some fun moments this year.
I don't think it's going to happen, Luke. I don't think we are going to deal Senza for anything. That is a $10 million contract that I don't think many teams are going to want to take on, unless this new arsenal that he's working on is going to be great. ZZ Alita 65-17. I think Jaden Hill is 100% lock. I think if you can throw strikes with heat and be more consistent, where we've seen Vodnik and Halver, to your point, struggle with consistency in the zone. That's the thing. Zach Agnos, he throws strikes. That's his calling card. He's not throwing 98 and throwing 99, but he's going to be around the zone and keep the hitters on their toes, and you better be ready to swing. It's a fun thing. I didn't know I was worried about the left-handedness of the bullpen until tonight. So that is going to be an interesting thing to watch and see how that plays out, because you can't go that far. You can't go 7 of your 8 relievers being righties. Like, there's just no way that's going to work out. So it's gonna be interesting. All right, a few more questions and we'll get out here. How long does the Rule 5 have to stay on the roster before giving up the player? Curse, can he make opening day and then a month move him down? No, he has to. The major league part of the Rule 5, he has to be on the squad the entire year. The only way he cannot be on the squad is if he has an injury. We saw that a few years ago with Jordan Sheffield, Anthony Molina. Those are the most recent Rule 5s. Anthony Molina, notorious as the long reliever for the longest time, and putting in Buddy Black's mop-up duty, just terribly used. But that was his role, and he was on the team for the entire time. And then I think he was cut recently, just didn't have the stuff. So they has to be on there the whole time. Otherwise, he goes back to the squad with, I think it's like $250,000 or $500,000 the Rockies have to pay with the Tigers. Thank you, Anthony Lorenzen. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. All right. So, Eli, end it with this. Who is your early standout with 5 games in, 2 weeks into camp? Earliest standout to send us off?
I think Cole Carrick would be my answer. Coming in and hitting, not just doing the other stuff we know that he can do. He's coming in, he's hit. So just in terms of from a game perspective, it would be Cole Carrick for me.
All right. I love that. And friend of the pod, which makes it fun. So make sure you follow Eli, Eli Whitney 17 without the I in the Whitney. You'll see him on our Twitter all the time. He will be boots on the ground. He's going to be down there for about a week now, and then go take a week off and then go back down for another week, something like that. So it's going to be fun. He's going to be boots on the ground. He's going to be sending some stuff on the tweets, sending on the stuff on the BSB, probably articles, videos, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you're following us for the most up-to-date spring training, because I can guarantee you Eli's going to put it up before Thomas Harding. No offense, Thomas. I just know Eli's quick like that. So be ready. Follow along with Eli. Show the love, show the support, do all the retweets and all that kind of stuff. Few articles dropping over the next few days. I know you wrote something about the pitching. I know we got an analytics top prospects to watch out for from Cooper. Our top 50 is being done and created. Follow us on Instagram. It's kind of getting thrown out there every once in a while because I'm not attention to detail as enough on all that as I should be. But all the top 50 stuff will be released by Prospect Day, Prospect Game, which is March 21st. Yeah, March 21st. So a lot of stuff happening before the season starts. Keep along with us, follow along with us. And we're turning the wheels in the back burner, trying to come up with new stuff, new content. Let us know what you want to see. Follow us, enjoy it, share with your mom. We are her favorite podcast. She just does not know it yet. Go Rocks! Woo!